The most chilling stories aren't always about ghosts or monsters. They're about the moments we realize how close we come to absolute disaster. With further ado, welcome to Bedtime Stories for Grown Folks.
Tonight I'm going to tell you the ghost story of Daniel Robitaille. Now this is one of those ghost stories where the dead don't stay dead, so let's go ahead and get into it. Now the image shown behind me is a photograph of a young Daniel, and Daniel by all accounts lived an exceptionally charmed life. He grew up the son of a previously enslaved couple that made their fortune creating technology that was used in the mass production of shoes, and as a result, he got to enjoy all of the trappings of the wealth that came with it. He had all the best clothes, went to all the best schools, and mingled with high society on a regular basis. And by all accounts, he was generally well liked. But even more, there was something special about Daniel that attracted people from all over, and that was his prodigious art talents. Daniel was a masterful painter and was able to capture the wealth of the people around him, something that was a bit hard to find those days. And as a result of this prodigious talent, Daniel was receiving calls from all of the 1%. Every single person wanted Daniel to capture their likeness and of course capture and document their wealth. And Daniel was able to make a really good living making his art. He grew a name away from his parents and was able to stand alone in his own right, and this made him quite popular. Even better for Daniel was that a lot of his subjects ended up being repeat customers, and they would call him and commission him to paint different members of their families. And this, sadly, is where Daniel's story takes a sharp left. So one fateful day, one of Daniel's repeat customers commissions him to make a painting of his daughter, Caroline. Now, in some stories, her name is actually Caroline. In other tellings of the tale, she doesn't have a name at all. But for this, we'll go with Caroline. And of course, Daniel agrees. One, because the sum of money is quite substantial. And two, because Caroline is smoking, like she's hot. And so he happily accepts the job. But this is where things tend to unfold even more, because as he's painting Caroline, he begins to fall in love with her. And what's worse is that she begins to fall in love with him too. It's very Jack and Rose. It's not supposed to happen, despite the fact that Daniel is rich and wealthy and comes from a good family on his own. Society says, black man, white woman, absolutely not. But you can't stop love, and the two of them went on to have relations, resulting in an unplanned pregnancy. Now, of course, this is still the 1800s, late 1800s, but the 1800s nonetheless, and this is a problem because in addition to asking Daniel to paint his daughter's picture, one of the explicit instructions in doing so was to capture her virginal essence, to make her appear very pure. Ideally, not only would this help her on the marriage market, but for a man to have good-looking kids, it definitely helps his social prospects as well, especially if he plans on social climbing through his children. So for him, he had multiple intentions with this painting. One, to capture his wealth. Two, to capture his daughter's beauty and her virginal essence. And three, to maybe subtly flex on other wealthy men of the time and possibly use her to make a business agreement in the form of marriage. But that does not work well when your daughter is knocked up by the black painter you hired to capture her virginal essence. I will say that again. Her virginal essence doesn't look good, does it, when she's pregnant? Now, of course, her father couldn't let that slide. So what did he do? He plotted revenge. Now, of course, as a man of means, he would never bother with getting his own hands dirty. So what he did was hire a gang to do the dirty work for him. Now, I forgot to mention that this story takes place around Chicago during the 1890s. I know I mentioned the year, but I didn't mention the location. So all of these events are taking place in Illinois. So back to the story. Now, the gang this man hired to take care of Daniel definitely took some creative liberties in how they dealt with him. So the first thing the gang did to poor Daniel was make him flee, and they chased him all night until he could run no more. The second thing they did to poor Daniel was cut off his right